Hey, what's up, guys? This is Felix. This is another video in my series on remodeling my basement. We are still working on infrastructure. Today we're working on domestic water systems, and this is an unboxing review of this appliance, which I just picked up at Home Depot yesterday. It is a GE water softener. It's a 40,000 grain capacity. It is model number GXSH40V. This weighs 80 pounds. I weighed it. It's just about 80 pounds on the dot. So you'll want to get some help getting this up into your truck. It's taller than any car interior I've seen, so you'll definitely want a truck. I wouldn't suggest laying these on their side to get them in the back of like a Subaru Legacy or anything like that. I'd suggest transporting these upright. And then check with your Home Depot about delivery options, but my Home Depot quoted me about $70 for delivery on this, which I thought was cost prohibitive. This unit costs, let's see, $447. And then after sales tax, the total cost on this was $477. So yeah, let's crack this open and see what's inside. Okay, just popped out my tape measure here. It looks like the box is 50 inches tall by 16 inches deep and 25 inches wide. So this is substantially larger than the appliance inside. So I'm just beginning the unboxing here, and I have some initial thoughts. The boxing on the top is the packaging on the top is very minimal, and you can see there's no corner braces, containment, padding, anything like that on all four sides. So I'm going to say this appliance is not centered particularly well in this box. I don't see that it's protected from impacts on the edges or corners. So if you get a box that's substantially damaged, odds are a lot of that went into the appliance. Okay, so after fumbling with this thing for a couple of minutes, I determined that the best way to open this is to just kind of tear the seam on the corner open and use a box cutter to cut the bottom so you can gain access. There's not really another way to get this out of here with it being approximately, 48 inches tall and weighing 80 pounds. Okay, so I got the appliance unboxed here. Take a look at it. It's a very beautiful appliance. And I have some initial design thoughts about this water softener. First, it has a very smooth exterior that does not have any contours. And as far as I can tell, the only lift points are not designed to be load-bearing lift points. Like the water connect on the back, that is not structural lift point. You should not be lifting it by that. There's the swing down lid on the front. You should not be lifting by that. And there's nothing else to really lift this by. So when you're unboxing and positioning this, or God forbid you install this with something like PEX and you have to adjust the position someday, there's not really a way to move this. And I would really suggest that GE mold some handle contours into the side there. Just something you can grab with your fingers so you can unbox it and position it. That'd be incredibly helpful. It comes with an electrical cord. This plugs into standard 60 cycle 110 in your basement, so make sure you have an outlet for this. The cord is approximately 100 inches in length. So if you have a plug for your water heater, you could probably plug these in together. From what I've read online, this thing draws very little current. So this isn't the kind of appliance like a sewage ejector pump that might potentially ground out or blow a breaker or anything like that. From what I've read, this guy barely draws any power, and its impact on your existing electrical system should be absolutely minimal. I'd also like to point out that this is a much smaller plug than I had anticipated. I don't want to say cheap, but seems less substantial than what you see on most hair dryers. Let's see if there are any specs on here. This says it draws input 100 volts at 0.3 amps. So that's what it actually uses. The output to the system is 24 volts at 500 milli. And you can see the cord is a very, very, very small gauge. So yeah, this thing probably doesn't pull any power at all. inside of the bin here, and let me show you that. So here's the front of the appliance. Here's a little display in the front. Pop this open. There's some instructions. Be sure to read that. You got to get the brine solution started in here to kind of prime the system. Here's some of the little serial number specs. So down here in the tank, there's a little salt level. And then down at the bottom, there's a little molded plastic contour. And I actually had to pull this up at like a 45-degree angle to get it up into my truck. I couldn't find anyone at Home Depot to help me, so I had to move it myself, which, like I said, it's about 80 pounds. So, you know, pace yourself if you have back problems. I don't, so I just kind of roughed it up into the truck. And I also had to tip this on its side to pull it up the steps into my house. There's powder in the bottom there. Can you see that? I wonder what that is. I'll try and pull that out. It looks like there's some loose silica powder on there. So, yeah, there's actually a bunch. There's some in the back there in the corner. There's some down there. I hope that's just kind of bits and not, doesn't indicate that something's leaking. Yeah, but I had to put this up on its side to get it up into my house, and this assembly right here slipped out of that notch and was kind of up against the corner, so I had to pop that back into place. So yet another reason not to transport this on its side. Contents will shift. Okay, so in the tub of the water softener, you find a couple bags, a large plastic bag, small plastic bag, and these are the contents. There is a blending valve. This is the water in from your house's supply. This part quick connects to the back of the water softener. This comes out of your water softener, and this returns to your home. This is a blending valve assembly, so you can adjust these knobs to determine what amount of water comes in and bypasses the system and just goes back to your house, and what portion comes in and goes through the system. And this is if you feel like your water's too slimy from the salt-based water softening process, or if you just want to reduce the load on the system, if your water hardness isn't particularly a problem, and you want your salt to last longer and you want the system to go through fewer regen cycles each year. To my recollection, the system regens at about 37 gallons of water runs backwards through the system when you have run enough water through that the silica in the second tub, not the brine tub, but the other tank there, needs to be regenerated and dump all those mineral ions or whatever's in there. On the back, there are a couple little adapters. You can see it comes with a little tube of silica gel. Everything's generously coated in that, it's a silicone grease. Everything's kind of generously coated in silicone grease now, so you'll get some of that in your water. Enjoy that. And you can see these little rubber O-rings drop in there. Put this down, tighten it, jam it down in there, and then put the clip to lock it in place. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so I just measured this 3/8 inch tube. They give you 150 inches of this, which means, given that the distance from the top to the bottom is only about, I don't know, let's say 18 inches, that means that you're going to cut this in half more or less, and you're going to have, minus the 20 inches there, about 130 left over, so you're going to cut that in half. So you have about 60-something inches to get from here, from your appliance to your floor drain. With my design, I'm putting the water softener system near my water heater. So I'm going to use the outlet of the water heater to supply electricity to this system. And I'm going to use the floor drain for the water heater for this to discharge into for the brine overflow drain and for the water recharge drain. And since they only give you 150 inches of this, but a cord that's 100 inches total for that, so you're going to cut this in half. You're going to have to be about 60-something inches, which is 5 feet, from your floor drain, from the supplies to your floor drain, if you want to use what's supplied. But you can be within 100 inches of the electrical supply. So, yeah, about 60 inches for this, 100 inches for that. So just design that accordingly into your design. It's been a few minutes. Let's slap this bad boy together. I noticed in the manual here that these fittings are 1-inch NPTM threaded adapters. So yeah, what we're going to need is a 1-inch NPTF shark bite 3/4-inch adapter, and I believe they sell those at Home Depot for less than $10, so we'll go sort that out next. Okay, so I just want to say there really is a trick to this, and you really do want to follow the instructions. When you're putting this fitting in, you can see there's a contour right there, and it's really small. It's less than 1/32 of an inch, but that little lip right there has to deform the O-ring, and the O-ring has to get smashed past that ledge. So we can pop the fitting on here, kind of jam it down in there, and see this is where it bottoms out. It gets that lip, and it's not close by a large margin. So follow the instructions. Get out the lube, silicone lubricant. We're going to apply a nice little amount of that to this O-ring here. So let's take a break for a second and I'll apply that. Okay, you don't need a lot, but definitely make sure to really work it in there to get a really nice coverage. You don't need a lot, but just make sure to really work it into the O-ring. And that's going to give the O-ring the ability that when you put it on here, and let's take this off the edge of the table so we don't damage that little contour. When you shove down with, 5, 10, 20 pounds of force, it'll just click and it'll push past that contour, and now all of a sudden there's enough room in there for you to engage the retaining clip. So let's grab the retaining clip and let's try and get that in there. I don't know if I can get that on camera. Let's see if I can do this. So maybe get the first tooth in there, work it around, get the second tooth in there, and work the third one around, and you can get that in without deforming it too much. And that's how you mount those together. But yeah, the silicone lubricant really is key. And now these can spin, but they're locked in place. I wouldn't try and spin them. They get quite a bit of resistance from here and here, but they can if you need to in a pinch. And those should be seated properly. Now we're going to rinse and repeat to get the entire bypass assembly into the unit. Okay, so let's grab this assembly. We have the O-rings on there, and they're nice and lubricated. Got the unit right here. Speaking of contents shifting during shipment, this assembly here is attached down through the plastic here to the tank full of plastic beads, and this whole assembly rotates. So when I had this, I don't know if you noticed before, it was off kilter by about 7 degrees or something. So you just kind of grab this firmly and shift it back to align it. So now we're going to take this whole mess here, put that in. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second. I'm going to push this in until these two O-rings seat, and then I'm going to return the retention clips, and then I'll show you that. Hey, it's Felix from the future. I'm at the end of the project, and I just realized it's really easy to pop the cover off of here. You go to the back of the unit, pull out on the housing a little bit, and then pop these clips up. And there's just the two clips, and then the whole lid comes off. And that gives you access to the brains of the unit. I'll talk about this a few minutes later. But that allows you to install the retaining clips for the domestic cold in, domestic cold out, the regenerative drain, without having to mess with the housing of the unit. Being able to get access really helps, especially with this. So we'll talk about that a bit later. But know that you can remove this cover before you start messing with anything in here. Okay, so after you get the cover off, getting it back on really is a hassle. I'm not sure why they designed it like this. Okay, I figured it out. There's absolutely a trick to this. First, lay it down flat on top and get these two contours right here where this lip fits in that groove and this lip fits in that groove. Lay that down flat on here first, at which point do not put these two clips in. If you put these clips in, the lid leans forward just barely like that, and you will never get these back on. So what you want to do, you cannot put this on, clip these down, and then get that on. It will not work. What you want to do is lay it down flat, make sure these are in the track, and then you can get the back to clip on. It gives you that little, a couple, just, millimeter tops to get those on, and then this is in the track, that's clipped on, and now you can click that down. And as far as I can tell, that is the only way to get that back on. It won't work any other combination of ways. So just a quick little trick there for you. Okay, so I didn't have to push too hard on this. Just make sure that you grab the body of the appliance to make sure you're not pushing on a weak structural point. You know, maybe grab it here. But yeah, when you grab this, just kind of rock it up and down, and you can get these to seat. The O-rings, definitely make sure you lubricate them to reduce the amount of force you need. Then you can get the retention clips, the retention rings back in the clips. If you have trouble getting your hand in here, there's a pretty tight space. There's nothing behind here. Maybe another design suggestion. They should enlarge in this area so it's easier for you to access. There's nothing up in here, and there's no reason for this body to be so tight that you have trouble getting your hands in here when you need to get in here to install. So now this guy's in place. You can see he's got a little bit of play, but I suppose the supposition there is that because of those O-rings that you've deformed into place, that should be about watertight. So now let's put the recharge drain line on there, and let's put the tank overflow drain in there. So got this little rubber fitting. As far as I can tell, it doesn't have an inside or an outside. Let's put maybe the thicker side on the inside. I'm going to try and deform that in there. After that's inside, I'm going to plug in this little clip. Okay, so work this little ring in. You can see there's a little contour there. As far as I can tell, this will fit in nice and easy. You don't need to lube it up or fight with it or anything. It should go in nice and easy. Just going to work it in. Cool. Now that's an overflow, so if the water ever gets up here, it'll drain out. You might need a pair of pliers to squeeze this on. It's a bit of a snug fit. And then we'll put this up on here, and we'll maybe lube this up a little bit with lubricant and feed this on, and then you'll definitely need a pair of pliers to get this up onto the serrations here. Okay, so I got everything pre-assembled, put the plastic back on it, still have a little cardboard footing on there, made some space. Again, this is near my sewer line. I want to keep everything nice and contained until I can get the interior walls up. So I have this plastic right here. Nothing's going to spill out of there. There's no bacteria, but I want to keep everything nice and hygienic. So this is fully covered in plastic. That's fully covered in plastic. I'm going to pop this into the spot it's going to end up living in. Then we're going to put in the PEX lines that connect from the top. This is going to be fully contained, and then the water heater over there. So those will be in nice, hygienic, separated rooms. But I have to put the walls in, and just between now and then, I want to keep everything nice and clean, nice and hygienic. Make sure there's no chance of contaminating these water inlets with some doo-doo butter. So we'll put that in there, dry fit that in there, and then leave it until a couple days from now when I can get the PEX installed. Good times, noodle salad.